will turn the light on. So you can choose whichever one you like. I would recommend leaving this unhooked for a while, so you get these 2 points soldered onto each side. Then you take this battery pack and you'll take the bottom part of your handle, which happens to be, you know, basically this piece and another PVC piece, but I just painted them brown. So it's just an end cap with a 1-inch connecting piece. This circular battery pack fits right inside. So then I would leave those wires like that and feed them up into the handle. So somewhere on this handle, wherever you decide you want it to be, you'll drill a hole to put a switch. But that hole has to be big enough for the switch to fit into from the top, because you're not going to be able to put it in from the inside. So then you would put these up through, and you'd stick these through the hole that you put the switch on. So this is the center part of the handle. It's just another connecting piece, exactly like this, but painted brown, and connected to one of these. Still slide those up through the hole that you drilled, but for now I'll put them up through the top, because I don't want to drill a hole right now. Oops. As you can tell, I really have no idea what I'm doing. This has all been a matter of trial and error. So now that that's all fed through, you can screw this onto the end. So at this point you would have a switch in here. A switch light. Something like this. Or if you want a low profile one, these are kind of annoying if you're planning on doing flips and stuff with it. It's going to get in your way. But you're going to want to drill a hole big enough for that switch to go in the side. So in this case, for a switch like this, it's probably about 1/4 of an inch drill bit. But in this particular case, I don't think this switch would work. Yeah, it wouldn't. Because this one, in order to use a 1/4 of an inch drill bit, you'd have to come from the inside. And that's not going to work. So I had another one that had a really big faceplate, which is what I used on the other one. So these plates, you'll want to choose a switch that has a faceplate that's bigger on the top than it is on the bottom. In this case, it's not. But these switches, they unscrew. So you take the top part off, and you take the faceplate off, and then you would stick this entire thing into the hole you drilled in the handle with just this part sticking out, and this goes on top, covering the hole, and then this goes on top and screws in. So you want to measure it at the store and make sure you get a switch that's bigger, has a bigger faceplate than the bottom part that you have to drill through, because it's very tight in here to get a switch in. You couldn't get it inside and then in the correct position to stick out. So you would connect this to one side of the switch with these wires sticking out of the hole, and then another wire from the switch to the spring, and this wire will connect to one of the outside edges. This is the exact perfect size. I don't know why this happened, but all of these cheapo dollar store flashlights, they have a circuit board that's the exact perfect size to fit up inside this connecting piece. That's 3/4 and Yeah, 3/4 inch to 1 inch. So it's a 3/4 inch thread on this side, and it's a 1 inch slip on this side. So the 1 inch PVC slips into this, or PEX tube, which is what you'll want. 1 inch will slip into here. This screws up inside it. I can't get this piece out to show you. Do I have anything else that's the same? Oh yes, excellent. So this has the same thread as the 3/4 inch tube. So this, you just take, once it's all soldered together, you just twist it, and it goes right up inside the neck. So this sits really flush right up against the bottom of the PEX tube. So it screws in all the way up through here, and it sits flush against the bottom. And then when you fit the handle on, that presses up against it and it holds it right in place, and that's not going anywhere. So it'll look like that, but you'll have wires coming off of it. And this piece will screw on, and you'll connect the final wires, and the whole handle will screw on top of that. And then you'll be able to turn it on and off with the switch here. Whenever you run out of battery, all you have to do is take off this one bottom piece, and you should have left enough wire for this to be able to pull down, and you'll pull it down like this, and then you can take the batteries out, put it back in, and then put the bottom of the handle back on. And that's the lightsaber. Worst YouTube tutorial ever. Okay, so I forgot a really important piece of this video, is that when you make this to be illuminated, as you probably saw, it only glows about that far. This is okay, not so much happening down here. That is because you need a reflector on the end of it. So the best option is if you have a Joann Fabrics anywhere near where you live, or a craft store that might have something like this. I know they have it at Joann Fabrics. Is a mirror about this size. We don't have a Joann Fabrics. The closest one's about 5 hours away. I am fortunate enough to have picked some up at Joann Fabrics because I was taking somebody on a road trip. So I do have a couple of these for my next lightsaber, so it's going to be a lot better. And I've already tested that, and the light is much superior. But what you can do if you don't have a Joann Fabrics is, remember when we took apart this part of the light and I said you only needed the circuit board? Well, right in front of it was a little disc, a little clear disc. So that pops out, and you can take tin foil, and you take the shiny side of the tin foil and glue it onto this, and then you take this with the shiny side in and glue it to the top, and that makes it significantly better. It's not as good as the mirrors, but it's about 80% as good, and so that'll make this a lot more consistent in the glowing. The part right by the handle will still be a little brighter, but it'll be a lot more consistent of a glow, and it bounces back off the end, and the tip glows a little bit too. So that's an extremely important part. You need a little reflective disc that gets glued onto the end. So I forgot another super important thing, because this is my first YouTube tutorial and I should have written a script because no brain. In order to make this combat worthy, when you slip the PVC or the PEX pipe into the slip fitting here, that's going to come right out as soon as you whack it against something. So what you have to do is you have to create a set screw. So right in the side you have to drill a hole, which is what the drill was for. You were probably mentioning, you know, yeah, said you need a drill. So you drill the hole there, and you put a set screw in the side, and you'll screw that right down on, and it'll tighten it up and hold the blade in place. That way it's not something, if you were to glue this on, you couldn't just take the blade out. You could take this